You find truth at your lowest. And this applies to anyone and everyone who's watching this. There's going to come a point in time throughout your life, or maybe it's already happened to you, where you are completely at rock bottom, where you feel like you have nothing left to give. You have this feeling of nothing left in the tank. You can call it depression. You can call it severe anxiety, whatever you want. But you're going to hit a point in time in your life where you feel like there's nothing left inside for you to give. You have nothing more for you to give to the world, to anybody. You feel like you have nothing left. Like you have nobody there either. Like you have no one to support you. You feel like you don't want to do anything. You don't even want to do good for yourself. You feel like no one wants you to do good. Whatever the circumstance is, where you have this feeling of nothing left, that is eventually going to come. There's going to be a day where that comes. And when the day comes, I'd rather you be ready to accept that day and be able to move forward from it and do better afterwards than to let it consume you. Let the darkness, the negative energy, that dark energy consume you to the point where you dig yourself in a hole where you can no longer get out of. You don't want to be in a situation where something happens to you, an event, circumstance, or situation falls upon you where you can't get out of. You feel like you can't escape, where there's nothing left. You have no more fuel. You have no energy. You have no inclination to want to get out of that position, because ultimately you're doing yourself an injustice and you're just causing more damage, and you are multiplying the feeling. When you let yourself get deeper into that state where you don't want to do anything, you're multiplying the feeling every single second, every single time, every single day, every single week, every single month that you stay in that feeling. Is going to get harder and harder for you to get out of. So the longer you wait, the harder it will be for you to get out of it. And I want you to know that this is going to happen to you eventually. And it almost happens to everyone. You know, there are some exceptions. Not everyone is the same, but you will have a dark day in your life. And this is going to happen. But I also want you to understand, this is not the end for you. That day is not the end. Instead, let that day be the end, or be the beginning of the end, where the storm has gone over you, and now you are at the beginning of the end, where you now have the choice of either getting back up, starting small but getting back up, or just laying flat, laying stagnant, idle, and letting everything else, all those feelings, that mindset topple you and fall on top of you, and just let it completely consume you to the point where you can't climb out of it. You have no more fuel. You have nothing left to give. You might feel this way, but truth is, you're still there for a reason. Even though you might feel like you're not there for any reason, you're still here. And that day where that comes, or if it's happening right now, you're still here for a reason, and you will be there still for a reason. And the reason is for you to make a choice. And the right choice is to get back up and go do better. Get back up and go do something different. Make the choice to want to get up. It takes a lot and I understand this. It takes a lot of strength for you to get out of this hole, out of this position that you feel like you're stuck in. But believe me when I say there is another side to this. There is a brighter side. There's always going to be that light at the end. You just have to have the faith and the consistency and the patience to know in yourself that it's going to be there, that it's always going to be better, because pain is only temporary and it won't last. It's not permanent. That's another thing that you have to understand, that it's not forever. And this is just something that's happening and that might happen for a short term, for a short amount of time, and that's not going to last forever. And this is what you have to keep at the forefront of your mind, that's not the end, that it's only the beginning of the end. But when you hit this rock bottom, you start to figure out the person you really are. When you have nothing left, when there's a situation where everything is stripped away from you, you feel like everything is stripped away from you, you have nothing left. This is when you find out who you really are, when you find out the person you really are inside. I'm not talking about the person you think you are, the person who you think you might be. No, you find out the person who you really are when this happens. And it's either going to make or break you. It'll either make you or it'll either break you. And I'd rather it make you than let it break you. So when you find out who you really are, you find out what you could really do. You find out your limitations, you find out your strengths, you find out your lows and your highs. That journey when you hit that rock bottom will truly determine the character, the person that you are inside. That consciousness, that spirit that you have, that is still alive, that will continue to be alive, that will continue to have energy regardless, is still going to be there. But when that rock bottom hits, it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to get back up. And it's better for you to get back up because you still have a lot to give. You have way more to give than you think. Your potential is unmatched because you don't know your potential. You have a lot of potential. You have too much potential for you to even comprehend. And the fact that you might think that you don't is an understatement, and it's not the truth. The truth is that because you're still here, right now in the present moment, you still have so much to fulfill. You still have a lot to do. You still have a lot of work to put into yourself. But you always have to be conscious of the moment that you're in, the circumstance that you are under, the situation that got you there, the situation that you're in right now, the situation that put you there is going to determine where it leads you to. And you have to see this. You have to see that there is another side to yourself because there is another side to the situation. And this is something that I failed to mention in my previous video, but it's that as humans, we have the ability to adapt to any situation or any circumstance that we are put under. And that's the beautiful thing about you as a human. That's the beautiful thing about humanity, is that no matter the situation, you have the ability to adapt. This is why when there is always things coming up in your life, you can either thrive and survive from that situation, or you can let it run you over. But this is also why you see people thriving and being super successful in different endeavors that you come across in your life, or that you see in real life, or that you see online. Everybody has this ability. And this is why there are so many successful people in this world. That's because they have that ability to adapt to certain scenarios. They have the ability to adapt to really any scenario that is put in front of them. But the thing is, it's their choice whether or not they feel like they want to adapt, and they accept the adaptation. They accept the fact that they can adapt, because it's ultimately your choice. It's ultimately up to you. If you want to be the one to be open to that adaptation, it's up to you to be open to accepting everything, being aware, noticing everything, embracing everything. Not necessarily for the truth or as false, but exactly for what it is, because everything is just as it is, and that's all it will ever be. It's only you that puts the meaning and the value behind everything, and that's something that you have to understand. Your mind state, what you allow yourself to think, the ideas that come up in your head, is all up to you. Everything is ultimately your choice. You decide what you allow in your life, and it's up to you to decide whether or not you can conquer what you are going through, these hard times, these things that pull you down. You allow that to happen, and you allow that to either let it conquer you or you conquer it. It is always going to be your choice. And I'd rather you be the strong person that I know you are, and I don't know you personally. But because we are human, we're one and the same. We're brothers and sisters. I know, because it's within me, that I also know that it's within you, for you to be able to conquer and get over any hurdles, any obstacles, anything that's going on. You have the choice, and I know that you have the ability to get over anything that you're going through. But when you get to that lowest point in your life, I'd rather you be prepared and understand what will happen and what's going on. You can't obviously truly know, all right? We don't know the future. We don't know what's going to happen. And you won't understand, and you won't 100% know what's going to happen. But you can prepare yourself. You can be ready now. You can put yourself in the emotional state of this tragedy or this circumstance, however you want to see it. You can do that, and you can prepare yourself, and you can be ready and try to understand really how to climb out of this situation that you are going to go through, either now, in the future, or it's already happened and you're trying to climb out of it, or you will climb out of it, or you're trying to climb out of it right now. But you have that choice. You got to be a person strong enough to want to get out of it. You actually got to want it. You got to be conscious of what you're doing, be conscious of what is going on. But you can do it. You can get out of it. You just can't ever give up on yourself. You got to have patience. You got to have consistency with yourself. You got to have self-respect. You got to have love for yourself. You got to have faith that you can do anything, that you can literally achieve anything that you want. As long as you put your heart into it, you put your mind to it, and you put your absolute 100% embodiment in it, you can do whatever you want. And I don't want you to ever forget that. And I believe in you. Everything I just said is simple, not easy. Love y'all, man. Peace, you.